Hey guys, Justin here. Quick note, the hot lap is going to be on the second lap, so make sure to stick around for the second lap. The first lap I run completely different lines. Also, I'd like to give a big thanks for the sponsor of this video, No Toad Racing. No Toad Racing League is recruiting now. They run series almost every night of the week, including Arca, Xfinity, Next Gen, and 87 Legends, along with a lot of fun racing with more variety. Official series start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and their premiere series is actually broadcasted on YouTube. This is their 20th anniversary. They are a friendly iRacing league who got their start in 2002 with the NASCAR Racing Series. Make sure to look them up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Bottom?
I'm actually not arcing on the bottom for a race line.
Oh, so it's the old line we used to run, like that first seam?
Kind of. No, not first seam. It's like you enter fairly shallow, but you enter really early so that you can just kind of wait on the bottom and get the car on the right rear and then drive it off. If you run the first seam, you burn similar tire to the top.
That's interesting.
You're good.
My first completed lap was a 33.8 and I blew turn 3 and 4. I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Well, okay, it was my first second lap completed.
34.04.
Funny coming from the Nürburgring with 8-minute laps to here.
Right.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Think about the Nürburgring, you break it down into sections.
I mean, I guess that's a 3.
33.398.
All right, let's take a look at that. So we're going to be doing second lap hot lap here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to do our first lap pretty normally. We're going to need the heat in the tires, so don't just like dilly-dally on your first lap. Run a fairly decent 1 and 2 without sliding your tires, but getting some heat in them. And then in 3 and 4, we're going to be running the high side, but be very careful because you get really tight in the center of the high side, so don't carry your speed like you would if you're doing 1 and 2. So I let off really early, and then right when we see this tire mark right here, that's where you want to be turning back down the hill and on the throttle by the end of. So you see I'm starting to pick it up, and then by the time I'm at the end of the tire mark, I'm mostly in the throttle, and then I'm pretty much full after that. So if you're full in the throttle anytime after that long tire mark, you should be good to go, and you'll be carrying a good amount of speed. All right, now we're going to go into turn 1. So the line here is really interesting, very different from race line because you have right front tire that's brand new and you can abuse. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be diving with our lefts to line up exactly with the top seam. So you see here, I get my lefts right on that seam, and now what I want to do with my car is to slide up to the wall and then turn it back off. This is going to remind you a lot of Darlington, and one thing that makes you fast at Darlington that will also make you fast here is timing your partial throttle to get on the throttle as you're sliding up to the wall. So to make sure I get enough rotation to where I'm not going to hit the wall once I get into the throttle, you're going to notice that I'm going to be dragging the brake at about 10%. And I keep that brake drag all the way until I light switch to the partial throttle. So once we go straight from brake drag to throttle, you can notice that I just keep the partial throttle, and then the moment I realize that my car is perpendicular or parallel to the wall, then I start raising it to just about full. So you can kind of tell that my angle is just about parallel to the wall. You see it's not quite, but you squeeze a little extra speed if you're able to do it even a little earlier. So I'm almost full throttle here. And so then I make sure that I don't hit the wall, and then I'm just full throttle from there on out. Because once your car decides that it doesn't want to hit the wall, you're suddenly in a position where you can just full throttle the rest of the corner. And at this point, the best line you can take is to, again, cut it and come out. But you want to do whatever your car asks you to do in order to not spin the rears on exit. So I'm keeping the wheel as straight as possible in an effort not to to slide the right rear tire. You can see with that correction here, I did end up sliding it just the tiniest bit, but it wasn't as bad as some others, which is allowing me to carry a decent amount of speed down the backstretch. I definitely could have gained another 100th or two by not doing that mini slide right there, but it wasn't horrible. Okay, so now we're going down to 3 and 4. And so 3 and 4, we're going to be doing a late arc going all the way to the white line. So what we're going to be doing here is dragging the brake at the same 10%ish. And then when we get to the white line, it's kind of a, I hate to say it's a feel thing, but you want about this much distance between you and the line. If this is where your car is and this is where the line is, this is the point where you can get your car started on the throttle. So you see here, I get on partial throttle and then my car finishes its drive down to the white line. You want to finish your drive down to the white line with throttle, not with brake, because that means you're able to throttle up that much quicker. And that's another thing that this late arc can accomplish for you, is that you can get on that throttle quicker. Okay, so we get on the throttle and now we're holding it at about 2/3, 3/4. And it may seem like we're not going to make it. So you're like, okay, this angle looks sketchy. I think we're going to hit the wall. But the car is naturally loose to where if you're keeping throttle in it without sliding the rears, you're going to get some natural rotation that'll keep you flush with the wall on exit. Okay, so we're holding it, and you see right here, you see my wheel is still turned to the left slightly, but it's mostly straight. And it's just the looseness of the car from that throttle input. You see here, I'm getting loose. And so as long as I keep my rears under me and get some rotation naturally from the car, we make the exit. Now you see here, here's another opportunity where I lost some time. Anytime you're sliding your rears, you're losing time. So in a perfect world, I don't get this big slide right here. And that's like 2 or 300ths right there. So yeah. Still though, you can tell that we got a decent amount of momentum carried because of the speed that we carried, and we get into the 3s. But honestly, there's about a 1/2 tenth to gain on this just by not sliding on exit. One thing to notice here off of my relative was that I actually picked up the throttle later, and this is what I figured out very late on, is that you just want to be really patient about picking up the throttle full. You want to get that apex as late in the corner as possible to give yourself the best chance of not sliding your rears on exit. Because as you can tell, as bad as I slid my rears on exit here, on my previous best lap, they slid even worse. So this is a very good way to practice throttle control on exit, or at least like reaction time with the wheel, because you're going to want to be full throttle. But this all starts from that entrance that gets you the latest apex as possible while still getting to the white line. Because if you late apex and only get to the first seam, you're going to lose some time. So you really want to late apex and then get to the white line. This might take some practice to get the control down, but this is a good baseline for you guys to start aiming for with your hot laps. All right, now let's go to the race. All right, so interesting first race. It didn't get off to the best start, but we were able to salvage something out of it. So let me make sure I don't blast your guys' ears. So turn 1, going into it on the second lane on cold tires, do you see it? I'm not even diving it in that deep. And then just, nope. They don't like that. So I just about self-spun. I'll show you how it looks in the car. It looks pretty gnarly in the car. I was feeling it, man. I really thought I was gonna end everything there. I'm like, what the heck is that? So be very, very careful on cold tires if you're in the second lane. Next time this happens, I might try to run the actual top. That might get the car pointed a little better, and then get to the bottom if I can. But yeah, that was whoo. Yeah, we saved it, but we lost a billion spots. We were 3 wide for a bit, so I think we came P8. So at this point, I'm just like, okay, I'm behind Larry here. I'll try to follow him. And so not really much to say once we sorted everything out. I made it past one guy, and then I'm just trying to follow Larry. And then, so everyone's running this first seam. A couple people are experimenting with the bottom. And it seems like all the people that went on the bottom ended up wearing more tires than the people on the first seam. So next time I try this, I'm going to try to run it on the first seam. I think that's going to be better on the tires. It'd be very, very early entry and smooth throttle off. Yeah, see, I definitely put a lot more on the right front because of my angle. You can tell how much straighter I'm angled here compared to these guys. And what that means is I'm going to have to turn the wheel to put the car on the right front more. Now I did that to get past someone, but yeah. So we were 9th a couple laps ago, now we're 7th. And I hit the apron in classic fashion, but basically we just kind of stay in line here. And really it was kind of a boring race from here on out, just keeping the lines. And then I was actually faster than 5th and 6th at the end. So, oh yeah. So I moved up to the top, and this isn't faster per se, but it's a way to attack and defend if you don't have the best tires. So I had okay tires. I didn't have the best tires. So these guys out here, the front four, and I really think I would have been a part of them if I didn't self-spin. But these guys are still running their line. Just keeping it really, really yawed out, but on the first seam. And that allows them to save tires and keep up their momentum. But when you get back to these guys who've burned off a little more tire, I'm going to want to get past them, and then the way I get past them is to build runs on the high side. But this is going to use up more tire. So once I start using the high side is when I started really burning more tire, but I was pretty even before then with the best guys. So I let off really early. Notice this line. I let off at the green light when we're on old tires running the top line. Just let off, drag the brake, make sure I don't hit the wall, then get back as early as possible. Because I'm able to get back really early on him, and I'm able to squeeze past him. And you see I have the tire advantage on 5th place to kind of do a little dive bomb here and make up some more time. So last lap here, this is really what the top can do. Is just really making up a lot of time by staying close to the wall the entire corner. This is different than Qual because as you can see here, he goes a little bit lower than I do on entry, but you don't have the right front to drive off of. So he has to wait on it, and while he's waiting on it, I'm already back in the throttle because I'm already angled my car. So I tried to go for it all here. Last lap dive bomb. I think I could have made it work, but I get too close to the apron there. If I was able to apex just a little bit later than this, let's take a look at Chopper. Yeah, see, I had room. If I was able to just get to the white a little bit later, see, I had so much throttle up on him, but he wasn't running it to the wall. So I recognized that at this point, I was like, okay, he's not running it out to the wall. So therefore, I'm going to wreck us if I keep going, so I bailed out. But that's not his fault. He has the right to run me like that. But if he was going out to the wall at the same angle that I was there, because I was actually making corner exit with this throttle. But he was keeping me down a little longer. So this is a good opportunity to learn where it's like, okay, I can choose one of two things. Either I stay in the throttle and I door him, and maybe we both wreck, maybe I wreck him, maybe I'm the only one that wrecks, or I just let out and just say, we'll take 6th place. But that's okay. We'll take 6th place. Might try another one here. I really do think I got the line pretty down, especially qualifying. I just need a better start than that. But I think for these purposes, what we can learn is from the front guys here. So mostly Derek here, per usual. We'll take a lap ride along on his lap 30 and see how he's running. Let me turn the volume up a little bit. And let's just ride along with Derek for a lap and see what he does on the long run. So my main takeaway from that is that he is waiting super long on the throttle on late run, just no forcing anything. There is no forcing the throttle at all. And he is running the best laps on the track doing it. So if you can commit to running really clean lines on the first seam and not forcing the throttle, you will have the best long run out of everybody. So that was pretty educational lap there. Probably won't record the next race I do, but hopefully do a little bit better. I think I will. But happy to salvage 6 from that. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.